Now I have a gratitude and thank to the Frappe team for developing such a great solution. Also to the community for helping each other learn, because I have something to contribute, a lot of other people who contribute in my learning. Same way we have an accounting working group where there are a lot of great ideas being shared and different systems, how finance system best work and what is the best practices. Now there is no system in this world which is absolutely 100% right. There are pros and cons with every system. So I have a strong gratitude and I really appreciate that. A brief about me. So my name is Liyakat. I am a management accountant and a chartered accountant with roughly 12 years of experience working with PricewaterhouseCoopers, pharmaceutical companies like Johnson & Johnson, Smith & Nephew, and then started my own firm, FinForce Consulting. The intention me and Manjur wanted to start was basically we identified that there is a problem with the SMB space. They're not able to adopt the latest technology tools available. So we thought, let's get into that space, because we did not want it to become another CA firm trying to file IT returns and do the tax audit and all that stuff. And I was always a process person, did system design and that kind of work I did, and he also had the IT background, so that led to creation of the FinForce. Now our journey of ERPNext was, when we started, the simplest was QuickBook. It was launched in India, QuickBook. It is a great product in US and in the UK market. It's more than 60-65% of the share in SMB, and it's really a great product backed by Intuit, and it was coming in India. So we thought that's the best solution to start, because Tally, it is a product which is good. It is a lot of people like it, they use it, and it is really solving people's problems. That's why it is so popular. However, I myself want to bash the system, saying it doesn't look, it looks ugly, right? That's what happens, but the system works. It is solving people's problems. That's why it is so famous. So same way, but the problem is because it's not cloud based, people like us who want to consult companies, we need to go to their offices, and the logistic problems are there, and it gets confined to the geography. So we thought of starting with QuickBooks. QuickBook was working fine for us. They had something like what partnership model which Frappe Tech is now trying to do, something like that, called a Pro Advisor portal, which QuickBook has, where you get listed and people, then you do a project, people rank you, and then basis that you keep getting project, and it was working fantastic for us. Then when we started getting more projects, little complicated, we realized that it doesn't have a stock module. It can't do maker and checker thing. So we were on a discovery to find something which is economical, feasible for SMBs, easy to use, because when I started my career after qualifying as a CA with TCS, I was part of a team in Oracle. So everywhere it is a patchwork, right? No system works. We will keep doing patchwork, and those are out of reach for SMBs because the license fees and all that stuff. So we then, as everybody discovers, we discovered it, ERPNext. We started experimenting, talking about it, and then testing here and then, and we started, after I think it got discovered, we came to first conference in 2007, and then it all began from there, and we started day by day as we spent more time with discuss forum, start building relationship with the other people in the community, build relationship with Frappe Tech and other service provider. We started loving this product, and it is, I think it is the best product available and there is no comparison. In fact, forget about best, there is no comparison. There is no other open source product available which is so sleek and simple to customize. Now I have seen a transition from V9 to V12, and it is like so much of a difference, right? V11 was so much of improvement, and V12 was an additional plus one there. So I think there is a great time ahead where we all work together. Now, apart from there, now we understood that this is the solution we want to spend our time, learn more about it. But the intention, the idea behind somebody implementing an ERP is not to just automate processes. You collect the data, then the information needs to be made meaningful, right? You want to create a story out of that data. That makes sense. Otherwise, structured processes collecting a lot of information and not generating a meaningful story out of that doesn't help. So then we now in a search of finding a data visualization tool. Now most of the finance people you meet in your life, you'll find that they love Excel, right? Excel is the best product, which was spreadsheet which was made, and like every finance professional, CA, CPA, you find they are good at it. So for us, learning Microsoft Power BI was simpler because it's just one step ahead. The look and feel is simpler. But the problem is, again, it is proprietary tool, it has a licensing cost and all that. We are doing that at this moment, but we are in search for another free and open source power data visualization tool. So this is precisely a story about ERPNext being discovered. Now, my analysis about ERPNext Accounts module as of now, what we have now, maybe I am little behind the schedule. I haven't tried and tested too much of V12. So if anything which I say here which is improved, maybe it would be, I will learn from it. If anybody has tried, correct me. So I'll break it up, an accounts module, I break it up in 3 components. One is it does a bookkeeping work. Second, it does is the compliance. It helps you do a compliance. Third, it helps you do reporting. Now, the accounts module which we have now, it does its job. It barely does its job. And it will help you do the double entry accounting system. Now, if I had to very rudely say, even if somebody has to do a double entry accounting, a pen and paper could also solve. Somebody looks for a solution because it should solve a problem substantially well. So that's where we need to improve. Now coming back to the compliance, again it helps business keep floating and not land up into the taxation trouble, but it is not best in class. There are better tools available comparing with ERPNext there. But as the regulatory changes are out of our control, we can't really do much about it. So we are adapting, but the adoption ratio for QuickBook is for Tally is much faster because they have a large user base, so they are like on their toes to get it solved. Maybe we are a little slower there. That's what is my take on compliance. On the reporting front, I think it just does its job for providing information, but it's overwhelming to get the data and any report from ERPNext because it's look more like a database dump rather than a meaningful report created summarized version of it. So any report you download from ERPNext, you need to process it to create something to share to your higher management. So this is what is my take at this moment. Now I will be running out of time, so maybe I won't be able to explain what the observation. So there are a lot of things we can improve, but when I was preparing this presentation, I thought, let me share the top 3 things which we should be working. Now when I say should be working, I take so every time I hear the word ERPNext, the word commitment rings to my ears. And it is, so I commit here that I, from a functional side, is ready to put my time and energy if there's an engineer on the other side who wants to improve. Let it be it's a Frappetech or somebody else. And I have shared this commitment before, informally on a individual one-to-one talk with Nabeen, Omer, some other people, but now in the open forum I'm saying I can contribute what is my strength areas. Now I can't code, I can't develop and put into the contribution. Now the top 3 things on my mind which we can improve is, first is the audit trail, the number 1, which is not now, maybe if I get an extension of 5 minutes, I will be able to explain, otherwise I'll skip. Okay. Now, so the first on my mind is the audit trail. The second is the bank reconciliation. And the third is the purchase invoice for indirect expenses. These are on my top of my mind. There could be other areas to improve, but let's talk about each of them. Now, when I say audit trail, from an audit trail perspective, every auditor is worried about who changed which number, because if an auditor does not get an audit trail of where what happened to this transaction after it was posted, and then I verified, and then we filed something, what changes. So that is missing. Why I am saying it is missing? At this moment, ERPNext does it at two levels. One, we have something called audit log, which just tracks the in and out of the user login session. And then we, at the other end, we have something called version tracking at the document level. But there is no central repository place where this information get collected, which is at a single screen, which I can scroll and see. Let's say a particular, I suspect that this particular user does not have a right, but he might have changed. So I want to scroll from a user side and see what changes he did in this period. Or if I see a particular account, let's say travel account seems to be abnormally wrong from last time what I checked. So I want to search on that. So a common screen, and I have a reference. When I say this, it is not just an imaginary story. I can work with the developer on the other system which does it. Let us take like QuickBook. It's just an accounting tool, but that does fantastic job in terms of capturing the audit trail. This is what we should be working on. This will increase the reliability of the system. If you say that the accounting gets done because we have a journal entry, that doesn't work. So to increase the reliability and the assurance of the system, audit trail is very essential. This is number one. Number two is the bank reconciliation. Now, currently the bank reconciliation functionality which we have in ERPNext, that is exact replica of how Tally does. The only difference is we have a functionality of downloading the bank book, and then you either data enter the clearance date, or you do a VLOOKUP, whatever preference, and then you upload it. But that's again is the same way like Tally does. It opens on a single screen and then you punch it. The problem with that approach is bank reconciliation essentially has two purposes. One is bank reconciliation helps you. Accounting is all about hygiene work, right? You have to do it on a regular basis. Now, to control that the accounting is happening on a regular basis, bank reconciliation is a good control to see that if bank reconciliation is happening on time, then the accounting is happening. That's one. Second, the objective of having a bank reconciliation is to identify if there is an incorrect clearance date being posted. Now, to just give you a very quick example, let's say if I run a report of bank reconciliation report for a month, and if I goof up between first week date to last week's date, it won't matter. But if I look at a smaller period, the report won't look appropriate. So the way QuickBook does is, again I am referencing to QuickBook because that's what I have extensively used. So far I liked the way they do it. That the way we have a clearance date, they import a bank statement, they match with the transaction, and then on top of it we have to do a bank reconciliation where it quickly applies some logic, and if there are incorrect dates or if there is a incorrect match, all those things get highlighted, which at that point we have a mechanism to rectify. So as I said again, it has two purposes. One is to ensure that the hygienic accounting is done and identifying the problems early. So that is the area which we can improve in ERPNext Accounts module. Third is the PI expense. So this was like what yesterday the trust build a solution on top of ERPNext. The problem is the current purchase invoice has a mandate of putting a item. It could be workaround where you open that line item and instead of item you just put a account ledger and it will take the entry. But that is not intuitive. It looks very dirty to post, ask a user, where it sounds illogical that for a indirect expense, how can a system have an item? Now there could be a workaround that you create a dummy item called an indirect expense or something else, and then you use it. But that's not a good system. The idea of having a system of accounting is to make the job fun. To tell you from an accountant's perspective, accounting is a very boring job. It sucks. Nobody wants to do it. It is so painful. So if you make the job even more painful, the adoption doesn't going anywhere. So to make So to increase the adoption, one needs to change some problem which are daunting. Now, yeah.
Perfect. Now I was thinking we can take some Q&A.
So the last is, so what I feel is, as I said, I think I have seen the transition from V9 to V11 and we are constantly improving, and I take all commitments to work with any engineer who thinks we should be working on that problem. I'm happy to work with.
I want one more commitment. Can you make a documented proposal for these changes?
Documented proposal
of what exactly the changes should be.
So something like wireframe?
Wireframe, or just explaining, this is
sure,
specifications for these
I'll
things.
do that.
Awesome.